Hey guys, welcome to Calculated Keto. Okay, so as you know, I'm all about that keto life, but sometimes I just need a little chocolate treat to get me through the day. And if you're all like me, then you're gonna enjoy this video because today we're gonna show you how to make our chocolate heaven fat bombs. Now, a fat bomb is basically just a high energy treat that kind of helps to curb those pesky cravings. They consist almost exclusively of fats and are pretty high in calories as well. So we personally don't eat them often and just use them as an occasional treat. That being said, our chocolate heaven fat bombs are amazing and they're super easy to make. So let's get started. Okay, so our fat bombs consist of 2 layers. So we're gonna start by making the base layer. So to start off, we're just going to combine our dry ingredients in our base layer. And so in this bowl, I've got 1 cup of cocoa powder, and we're going to combine that with 2 tablespoons of confectioner's erythritol. So if you're a little bit weary of using erythritol, you don't have to use that in this recipe. You could just add an extra like 40 or so drops of liquid stevia to the wet ingredients. But I've found that this combination makes the best fat bomb because it kind of takes that bitterness out of the chocolate and it makes an overall better flavor. Okay, so now we're going to combine all of our liquid ingredients for the base. So I've started with 4 ounces of melted butter in here. Now you want the butter to be pretty hot. You don't want it to be boiling, but we're going to be combining all of these ingredients and we want them to all melt together to make kind of a marshmallow consistency. So you do want it to be pretty hot. And we're going to combine it with 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. Don't skip the softened part because it really needs to be soft for it to combine or it's so hard to mix together. So the next thing that we're adding is our heavy whipping cream, and that's just 1 tablespoon. It's 40 drops of liquid stevia. This is gonna take a second. All right, that's 40 drops of liquid stevia. And the last liquid ingredient we're adding is some vanilla extract, and that's just half a teaspoon. All right, okay, so we're done with all that. Move that off to the side. And we're just gonna get our hand mixer and combine, and we're gonna wanna get a marshmallow consistency here. Okay, so I didn't get my butter quite hot enough, and as you can see, the cream cheese is a little bit lumpy. So all I'm gonna do is pop this in the microwave for a few seconds just to heat it all up again, and then I'm gonna finish mixing. There we go. All right, guys, look how yummy this looks. So it's kind of like this melted marshmallow or frosting consistency. It smells super good and it looks amazing. All right, so I am going to now combine our frosting here to our cocoa powder erythritol mixture, which is kind of tricky to do by yourself. I don't know how everyone does this all the time. All right, and then I'm just gonna combine it, mix it up, and it's gonna turn into kind of like a, I don't even know what to call it, just like a really creamy, like thick consistency. So I'll show you in just a second. All right, so we have finished combining here. Take a look at what this looks like. It's like kind of chunky and it's very fudgy.
Looks like ground beef.
It looks like ground beef on camera. It's not ground beef. It is delicious chocolate cream cheese goodness. Okay, so now we're just gonna add our base layer into our glass tin. Now you can basically use whatever vessel you want. We've used pie plates before. We've used Tupperware. This is my favorite one just because it's like the perfect size. It's like a glass Tupperware container. So we like ours to be a little thicker, and so I like to use a smaller container. Ooh, see? Drop it every time. And then we're gonna push it down and pack it down so it's nice and dense once I get all this off the sides. So now that's all packed down. You want to make sure it's try to make it as even as possible, but you know, it's not the end of the world if it's not perfect. There's going to be another layer that goes on top of this, so it's not that big of a deal. So now I'm just going to cover it with our lid here, and we're going to pop it in the freezer for about 20 minutes. We want it to get nice and firm because we're going to add our second layer to the top of it, and if it's not firm, then the two layers combine too easily. So this just ensures that it's a nice like divide between the two layers. All right, so while that's in the freezer, we're gonna go ahead and make our top layer really quick, and this is a little bit more simple. So I've just got in here 5 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and we're literally just gonna combine all of these ingredients. So it's 5 tablespoons of cocoa powder, we've got 3 tablespoons of refined coconut oil, and then we're gonna do a fourth teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right. 50 drops of liquid stevia. So you can make this recipe sweeter using more powdered confectioner's erythritol or adding more stevia. We don't do that because we like ours a little bit, we just like to take the edge off of the bitterness of the chocolate. So we do the minimum. All right, so then we're just doing an 1/8 teaspoon of, you know what, about an 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Just don't oversalt it. All right, so take a look at that, what that looks like. It's a lot more liquidy than the base layer. So what we're gonna do now is as soon as the base layer is firm enough, we're gonna pop this in the microwave for just a few seconds to get it like nice and liquidy, because it might firm up a little bit while we're waiting. And then we're gonna pour it over the top layer, and it's gonna look so good. All right, you guys, so we're on our final step. I'm just gonna pour our little topping here onto our base layer. Get it all on there first, then we're gonna smooth that out. Get it all nice and even here. Okay, that's what we got. So we're gonna pop this back in the freezer for a little bit to harden the top layer, and then we'll cut into it and have a taste. All right, you guys, we waited, we went through all that work, and look at this end result. So this is 1/8 of our little dessert. You can see the layers, it looks so good.
All right, I'm gonna give this a try. It's a good texture. It's kind of like a Klondike bar. It's a little bit bitter, but I kind of like that. Overall, the whole thing cost about $7.12 to make, and if you divide it by 8 squares, then it's 89 cents per square, and it's 4 net carbs per square, and it's 280 calories. So I mean, these are pretty generous portions. We usually eat it for like a dessert, but you can definitely go smaller if you don't want it to be as many calories or carbs. But we really like it. Give it a try and let us know if you like it too.